Welcome to Unlocked. I am Dr. Joel Swakowski. In this show, we explore how truth comes to life through real stories and real people. Today, I'm joined by my friends Eric and Jennifer Vickers. I've known them both for years. They are both leaders in the church. They both are wonderful human beings, and they're an awesome married couple as well. So we get to hear their story of meeting each other, dating, engagement, to marriage, to where they are today. It's a great story. Let's dive in. Hello, Eric and Jennifer. How you guys doing?
Great.
Hey, excited to
Good.
be here.
Woohoo.
Yeah, glad to have you on the show. One of my favorite married couples.
Thank you.
Yes. Um, what we do here on Unlocked is we like to hear people's stories and dig into the deeper truths within their story, see what we can glean, what truths we can use from their stories to apply to our own lives. And you're the first married couple or couple at all that I've had on the show, so I'm excited to have this dynamic, right?
Yeah, that's fun.
I know you guys have a great story, and I thought it would be great for the audience to hear it and see what we can learn from you guys. So let's just start with the basic. How'd you guys meet?
Yes.
That's a great question. Would you like to start?
Yes, so we did meet at church, at Music of Life Church on a Wednesday night was the first time we met. I'd been a part of the church since the beginning, and Eric showed up one Wednesday, him and his brother and a friend, and I thought they were just some young punks checking us out, and I was like, okay, let's see what these bros are about. But honestly, when I first met him, I was not interested in, and I would not have guessed we would be married now. That
No?
was not my idea, no, in the beginning. And so, yeah, we met at church, and yeah.
Do you
Yeah,
remember that? Do you remember that night?
I I do remember that night. I would say one of the earliest memories that I do have with Jennifer is there was, I think it was on a Sunday morning when I had asked her if she wanted to hang out.
Oh.
Like, hey, would you like to hang out? And she's like,
No.
we can hang out at church.
Yeah, classic. Yes.
Yeah.
So just immediately feeling the pokiness, the directness. And at first, it's like, I don't know if I like this person actually.
Mhm.
They're very brash, very direct.
Yeah.
That was some of my first impressions.
So was your intent to like what was your intent behind asking her to hang out?
So for me, I think I thought she was cute, she was attractive,
Yeah.
so I wanted to get to know her more.
Mhm.
Um, and this is, where I'd like to just share like what I thought I was looking for within a person or a partner was someone very similar to myself, someone very like quiet, little internal tension, not too pokey or anything like that, like similar to me, very, very peaceful and mild.
Peaceful, calm,
Yeah,
sweet.
right. Exactly. That's what
Yeah,
I
Jennifer's sweet
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah, I am
she
sometimes sweet. Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So and your first impression when she's like, "Yeah, we can hang out at church," was that like so? Hmm, that's not what pretty immediately is not what you were looking for.
not what I expected. I had I guess a picture in my head of dating a blonde-haired, blue-eyed, also very like agreeable,
I agree.
person.
Yeah.
Someone very similar to myself. So that initial interaction was like, oh, you're not what I imagined or pictured at all. So yeah.
Yeah. And I think for me, like I had interacted with so many boys in my life where I'm like, I don't want to waste my time on boys, right? And so Eric was not the first guy in church to be like, hey, can we go out? And like, we can hang out at church and until you like really prove yourself that you're worth my time, like let's just be friends at church. And then I don't have to like lead you on or feel bad that I'm not interested. It was just like, let's hang out at church. Let's get to know each other because we hadn't really hung out yet.
Right.
And like, and so I was just like, let's just hang out at church. because I don't know if you're even going to stick around, and I don't want to waste my time, and I really don't want to waste like your time. Like we'll just be friends at church, and we'll see where this goes.
So what was it then that eventually at some point you guys had to have spent some time together?
Right.
Was it church for a while, and then what happened to kind of get you guys to maybe pique some interest?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the first thing I would say is I think around that time, I think for me, after having that interaction with Jennifer, I think my response was like, well, I don't think this will ever happen.
Hmm.
Like, she doesn't seem interested at all, which is fine. And what I did was I think I just looked to focus on how could I contribute back to the church that we're a part of. So, like working on the refuge team at church and working with Jonathan and Michaela that were on that team at that time. So I think for me, my focus just became on how can I help out at church and contribute at church and just looking to do that.
Yeah. And then I think I was on my own journey too of growing and learning. And Jonathan was my husbandman, or he was the one helping me and mentoring me in that season. And so there got to be like a Wednesday night that I was supposed to teach at Bible study. I had no idea what I was going to teach. I was panicking, freaking out. So I called Jonathan and he's like, I think you should call Eric. And I was like, why would I call Eric?
Yeah.
He's not going to be able to help me. There's no way this new kid, like he'd been around for maybe 6 months at that time. I was like, there's no way he's going to be able to help me. He can't handle me. Like, there's no way, Jonathan. And he's like, I really think you should call Eric. And I was like, fine. I'll call Eric and I'll show you how wrong you are, but
Yeah.
I will call him. And so I called Eric and he picked up the phone and he's like, hello? I was like, hi, this is Jennifer. Jonathan told me I had to call you and I'm freaking out about my Wednesday night. You need to help me. And like, I was just like, ah, and I just yelled at him for like probably 10 to 15 minutes. Like, it felt like 10 to 15
Yeah.
minutes. And I was like, help me. Like, cause I don't know what to do. And I have a talk. And he did, which I was like surprised
He
about.
helped.
He helped. Yeah,
Yeah.
he helped settle me and gave me a step, which, like, he gave me the step to talk to God and pray to God. And and then God gave me a thing, like a nugget that I could teach the church, and it super settled me. And we were talking about it later, where it's like the step he gave me to go to God and like pray about this, what that nugget was so good. Because if he would have given me a step personally, like, I think you should do this, Jennifer, I probably would have been like, no, like you're not gonna, you can't, no, you don't know if that's the step for me, right? Like that specific topic. But because he took the backward step to tell me to go talk to God about it, and then God gave it to me, I was like, oh, okay, I can do this. Like I want to do this. Where I'm just so, just well, especially in those days, I was very just pushing back and wanted it to be my idea. And so I think it was clear that it was God through him to go, hey, tell her to pray about it, tell her to talk in tongues, like tell her to like go to me, and then I'll give her the idea. And then I was like, oh, maybe Eric can help me in these areas.
So it was great that like the step he gave you worked, right?
Yeah.
Was there anything else about how he handled you that you found appealing?
Yeah. I think that he wasn't scared. Like he wasn't like, okay, bye, like immediately. Cause I had also learned like be yourself, right? Chase away the 99.99% of guys and see if the 1% sticks. So I was like, I was going to be 100% myself. And the fact that he wasn't scared, I was like, oh, okay. Okay.
Nice.
Even after being pokey and stuff, it's like he can handle me at one of my well, what I thought was one of my worst moments. There were many worse moments after that, but he could handle me in that moment. So it built my faith in him in that.
Nice.
Hmm.
What about you? Do you remember that phone call?
I do.
Yeah.
I want to set some context here.
Yeah.
For me, in my experience with women or with relationships, friendships, dating, what have you, my experience was always there will be one catastrophic conflict or catastrophic argument that when that thing happens, there's no coming back from it.
Okay.
The relationship is over. This is done. It's dead. It will never be resurrected. And so at that time, before Jennifer called, we had been taking a husbanding course at the church. So our church leader, John, was taking a group of us guys through husbanding. So around that time, I was learning about what are the things I can do to help another person? How can I help them grow? How can I help them remove their thoughts? All of that kind of stuff. So when Jennifer calls, I don't even think I had her number saved in my phone.
Right.
It was like an unknown number
Right.
is ringing you at 7 p.m. on a weeknight. And
Yeah.
I go, hello? I didn't even know who it was. And she's like, hi, this is Jennifer. Jonathan told me to call you to help me with my Wednesday night. And then she got pretty emotional. Like the kind of emotional that in my experience might have been one of these super conflicts that it's like this could end. This could be done right now. And I swear, I remember that moment so clearly because it was so much like one of those like young pupil moments, like one of these like Mr. Miyagi moments where like take a breath,
Yeah.
time slows down,
Yeah.
and I'm just like I just remembered my training. So the first step was get all the thoughts out. What else? What else? What else? And helping her share. And I hadn't had any prepared advice. And then the
Yeah.
advice, the first thing that came to my mind was, yeah, why don't you practice speaking in your heavenly language? Go to God and see if he has something for you. That was it. That was the advice that came in the moment. And she's like, okay. And I think the
And that was
conversation was
over.
pretty much done right
Yeah.
after that. It's like, okay, you know?
That's interesting. I wonder if just even the 10 minutes up to that, removing all those thoughts, helping her just get the emotion out was what she needed to hear from God clearly.
Right. That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It was
So
very
that's
tense. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of tension there. There's a lot of tension between you two, but it's also a lot of, awesome, collaborating between you two as well. So that's like the beginning of something, right? Where
Right.
you two are starting to venture towards like, oh, it might not be a bad idea to interact with each other. Did you guys start hanging out or talking more after that?
Yeah, I think we were more open to interacting with each other just in
One of us was more open to it. I was more open to it at that point. Yeah.
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 Well,
Well,
But
because Eric already was.
right. Exactly.
right. That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
So Jennifer was catching up to the openness.
Right. Right.
All
Like this
right.
would be a good idea. Yeah. Yeah. But I think we started hanging out more like at church and I actually wanted to talk to him and I wasn't like, nah, get away from me kind of thing. Um,
Yeah, I think
yeah.
it was definitely in group settings. I don't remember a lot of one-on-one let's hang out by ourselves. I think a lot of it was in front of whether it was we were hanging out at John and Laura's house or at church.
Or Applebee's. We were going to Applebee's back in the day. Like that
Half
was
price apps or something.
Half-priced
yeah,
apps.
half price.
Oh yeah,
Was
that's
the jam.
oh
Yeah.
yeah, that was so fun. But yeah,
Nice.
stuff like that.
So what happened next? I mean, so you guys, I love that. It sounds like the community was a big part of your. I mean, if you want to call it a courting season,
Right.
Right.
a lot of it was hanging out in group settings, which I know is a benefit in and of itself. But do you guys remember when things started taking a turn more towards this is more than just wanting to hang out in a group setting?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Would you like to?
Yeah. So then I had the opportunity to coach a woman and take her through like some FlowSess stuff. It wasn't called FlowSess at the time, but John had approached me, be like, "Hey, there's this teenage girl. Do you want to hang out with her and take her through, this program?" And I was like, "Yeah, I would love to." And so, and again, I had been starting to talk to Eric more. He was becoming my husbandman, I think, slowly but surely. And so this was like the thing that the project we've worked on. So it was 12 weeks. I'd meet with this girl an hour and a half every week, and we were like John would send us kind of like the template of what was going to happen, and then like we had to kind of figure out what we're going to say and the stories and like lay it all out. And so in Jennifer fashion, I'd get the template and I would freak out about it, and I'd be like, I don't know if I can do this. I can't do this. I'm not going to be able to teach. This is going to be a terrible time. And Eric would listen, and he would be very compassionate, and he'd be like, okay, well, here's a step. Like, let's practice this. And I'd be like, okay. And then I'd go and meet with the girl, and I'd be like, oh, I crushed it. It was so much fun.
Yeah.
Like, we were able to just flow, and like, I told my stories, and and it was just such a great time. And then the next week would come, and I'd get the script again, and I'd be like, oh my gosh, I don't know anything about that. I think I'm in the amygdala. I can't talk about any of this brain stuff. I'm like triggering over teaching, and Eric would handle it well again and again. And it was just like, through that project, those 12 weeks of working together, it was like, oh, okay. And him handling me week after week. Well, him using his uniqueness to help me, and like then me being able to use my uniqueness to like help this young woman. It was just like, it was after that I was like, okay, now I'm interested. Like, yeah, he's more than just a guy at church. I'm definitely growing an attraction to this man, and I want to see where this goes. So that was my side of it, at least.
Yeah, you remember that project, Eric?
Holy moly.
Yeah?
Yes,
What's the holy moly?
One of the things, I think this project is an example of something that I am going to always owe Jennifer for. Jennifer has given me an opportunity to learn how to husband, how to be someone who is focused on developing someone else. And there's a lot of work involved. There's a lot of labor that's involved in that, and it's very rewarding at the same time. So during that project, it was like, can we work together to just focus on this project together? I believe it was Sunday. I think it was on Sundays when we would have our project work time. And there would even be times where we would get a message from people at church. It's like, hey, we're all going to a movie.
Right.
You want to come to a movie with us? And then we'd have this moment
Right.
where it's like, oh, shoot, we got to do this, but we want to go to the movie too. And, you could get like just bouncing back and forth between that. But it's like, let's just focus on this first. If that happens, it happens. If it doesn't, that's fine. So I think it was a season where we both really first experienced collaborating on a project together. And I think also maybe not having words for it, but really experiencing what is our role? What's our role within this relationship? And I will say it felt really good for me for the first time in my life, being able to feel like there was something I could actively do to help someone else. There was something I could actively do to help them get better. Because like I said earlier, up until that point, it was always something bad goes wrong and it's over. And there's no growth, there's no repair, there's nothing that will ever come from this. But to learn how to do that work of husbanding was so deeply satisfying for me to be able to have an active role within that project. So I didn't, it's like one of those things, I didn't know all of these things at the time, but my level of patience, my level of calmness could be a stable spot for Jennifer to be able to have those moments to just
Freak out.
panic,
Yeah.
just get that all out. And it's like, okay, now let's work on this outline together. And it was week after week for 12 weeks, 3 months. And I feel like that project, at the end of it, we felt like we went through something together.
Totally.
At the end, we felt closer. It's like, oh my gosh, we just accomplished something really, really cool, because that person was also a paying client too.
Right.
Yeah.
This felt serious. This was like, we
Yeah.
need to do well.
Yeah.
We've been paid for that. So yeah, that was kind of my take.
Yeah. And Flo says his name's on
Yeah.
there's a reputation there. And yeah, that's incredible.
Yeah.
So then what? It was like within a few months you guys got engaged and married and
Yeah, no, no,
No?
no.
It's a
Yeah,
great question.
then it was like after that I was going, okay, I recognize I'm growing in attraction. I'm attracted to Eric. I want to see where this goes. But at the same time, I don't want to rush into it because I do take marriage really seriously and I want to be with somebody who can handle the good, the bad, the boring, the fun too, right? And so we just spent the next, I don't know, years getting to know each other and just like hanging out and and really starting to like have these discussions like what do we want out of life? Are we going towards the same things? Do we want the same things? And like having those discussions. And then two, like, do we just enjoy being around each other? Because it's like in the beginning, it's so fun, right? Like we're staying up to like 2 in the morning talking every morning, and you just have all of this energy, and you're like, oh my gosh, I love you. You're so handsome. I want to be around you all the time. And it's like, yes, that was so fun and so like energizing. But it's like, but what happens when there's another argument? Like what happens when we hit these roadblocks? Like what I wanted to find out if Eric was somebody who wanted to fight and like wanted to work through those things, or if he would bail when it got hard. And it was just like, and then two, I think part of it was just like getting to know each other because we didn't know like our favorite foods. We didn't know our favorite movies. Like we just didn't have that experience yet. And so like we started that journey after that project. And then undoing all of the bad dating too that I had experienced and that he had experienced was like a process to go, okay, what is an actual relationship supposed to look like? Because the movies show one thing
yeah.
and that's what I grew up and I desired and I wanted, and it's just like, but that's not reality.
Mhm.
So what would this relationship actually look like? So we started that process after that project. Um, which was fun
Yeah.
too.
I remember a specific conversation, and Jennifer actually reminded me about this. There was a moment that I had where I think I shared something with her like, but you're not like other girls I've dated before. Like, I was confused. I
Hmm.
was like, this is so different. And internally feeling like that must be wrong.
Oh,
It
okay.
must be wrong that this isn't like other experiences that I've had dating. And I believe Jennifer asked me some simple question like that, like, so is that wrong
Yeah.
that I'm not like the previous girls that you had dated? And I was like, actually, no.
Right.
Because when I think about those experiences, there was a lot more like toxic interactions. It was just seemed a lot less healthy than what I was experiencing now. So it was radically different than anything I had experienced in the past.
Mhm.
So there was even some like, yeah, mental hurdles to jump through with that. It's like, this is so different. How do I even categorize this in my brain? Um,
But it
but
sounds like I mean it's good that it was different, right?
Right.
well,
And you categorize it differently than
right.
Right.
the other experiences. So that but the journey of planting a new tree, if you will,
Yeah.
growing that tree, seeing how healthy it is.
Right.
And yeah, that's incredible. So you guys, how long did you guys date? You don't even like for a long enough you don't even quite remember?
It feels like
We
that.
say we say 5 years. That's
Yeah.
just the number. I don't know if that's like
So
accurate.
I think something I would say is that I remember a year when we like consciously named it as dating,
Hmm.
and that was 2017. In
Okay.
2017, when we like, hey, we would like to date one another.
Hmm.
And I think,
We put the label on it. Yeah.
Right.
right,
Right.
Okay.
yeah, but we could make the argument that we were doing, yeah, we were doing dating even before that
Yeah.
by getting to know each other, by growing an attraction with each other. But it was 2017 when the actual label was put on it.
And you guys were married in what year?
2023.
Yes.
Right. So that's yeah, 5 or 6 years
Hmm.
of dating. So what was that journey like?
Yeah, I think a lot of that we we're like learning how to love each other, so like give to each other without expecting anything in return, which that didn't always happen. We were learning how to do life together. So like we did live together. We were learning like chores. We were learning, what do I want to take care of? What does he want to take care of? And we were learning, like I can remember dating and we weren't living together yet, but like we kind of were, and then like a friend like being like, why does he just stay on the weekends and not during the week? And I was like, because you can't have sleepovers during the week because that's like
Yeah.
against the rules. And
Yeah.
it's like, you're an adult, like you can have a sleepover whenever you want. And I was like, but can you? And like having to like unlearn some of these like traditions that I had just grown up doing and being like, okay, how do I unlearn dating? Like unlearn what it actually means to be like get to know somebody and focus on getting to know them, and then as an effect then you can like be close, right? So we had a touching journey too, like holding hands and hugging, and we tried not to jump steps. Like it's like let's get the most out of like, can we connect first with our words? So we
Yeah.
did that. We like learned how to just reach each other with our words, and it's like to be able to be close to somebody and not have to physically touch them is like incredible. And then to feel safe enough too to share more and be more vulnerable. And so like we went on this journey for ourselves of like, what does it look like to connect with our words? And then eventually it was like, okay, now let's learn how to like hold hands and relax instead of being like all ramped up and be like, oh my God, it's so much fun. Let's hold hands always. It's like, okay, we're not 16-year-olds dating, right? Right? We're not 16 anymore. Like we were in our late 20s. So like, or are we dating like we're 16 and just like, so we like learned how to do that. And then we were doing life too. Like I had gone through a career change, and so I had jumped from a company that was like well established, started doing recruiting, sucked at that, quit with 3 months, and I was like jobless, and I had enough savings to still contribute to our home, but like I was jobless and I was like sitting on a couch going, what am I going to do with my future? And Eric had reached out to friends of ours to be like, okay, like, hey, what do we need Jennifer to work on? Like, what's her next step? And they had given us the cause at that time to like identify my mask. And I was like mad. I was like, why?
Yeah.
Why is this my step? Yeah. I was like, this is not what I need. I need a job. Like I
Yeah.
need a job, right? Not to identify my mask. And that was like another huge project that Eric and I started working on was like identifying my mask. I was super depressed, sitting on a couch for hours and hours. And Eric's like, and this was before we were married too. So it's just like working through this to be like, one, will I get out of that hole that I dug? And then two, like, does he want to help me out of that hole? And then three, like, is this even going to work? Like, if we can't manage to get through this time in our life, like, this isn't going to work because this is just too rough. And so, yeah, it was tense, but it was a good project. Another great project to work on.
Yeah. And it's incredible you learned this stuff while you guys were dating too. And because I'm just listening to this story, and it's like how many people have that same story, a similar story, but they've already been married and now they have to go to marriage counseling and they're about to get divorced and it's like my life's over.
Right.
It's like to figure out there's some safety in being able to figure this stuff out, before getting married.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember
Well,
that.
yeah, go ahead. I was going to ask you, what was that season like for you, Eric?
Oh, thank you. That I think up until this point, even now in my life, that season will feel like one of our darkest times, one of our darkest seasons that we've gone through. For me, seeing Jennifer so depressed, so low on energy, and so listless without having a goal ahead of her, I felt deeply concerned. I felt really concerned for her happiness and for her future. And I remember having some conversations where some of the things she said just utterly broke my heart. because I felt like she lacked hope. And
Which is like the antithesis of who she is naturally.
right.
So that's where, yeah, the deep concern, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Thankfully, I did have people in my corner,
Mm.
other mentors, other leaders, other guys who were able to give me advice, the right advice during that time. Um, this was really challenging for me too, because this season also required me to be honest with Jennifer
Mm-hmm.
in things that I would share with her, in confrontations that I would have for her, where I had to stop worrying about how she would feel in response to me being honest with her and being direct with her.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this is one of those seasons where it required a new skill from me, one that I hadn't grown in a lot. And it was like, okay, it's either do or don't.
Right.
And I chose to do, and to really grab a hold of that. And that was such a powerful season for me too, because I saw how it was helping.
Mm.
As a sensitive, caring person that doesn't like causing people pain, speaking the truth to her in a loving way, even though it was tense and made her feel like poop in the moment,
Yeah.
started resulting in her getting better
Right.
and finding confidence and finding the determination and like the focus to do the steps that she was being given by our friends and leaders.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, okay, I'm sold on confronting in love
Mm-hmm.
and seeing how it can help somebody, especially when they're in their darkest time. That could have been the season where I was like, no, I'm going to make sure I don't cause any pain, because it seems like she already has enough pain.
Right.
And that would have just allowed her to continue to be in that spot.
Mm-hmm.
So a huge learning experience for me, but for both of us. And I remember someone else giving a word in front of a group of people at that time, where they said, people will go through the hardest times right before they get married.
Mm.
Mm.
And I remember hearing that word and being like, I feel like that's what I'm in right now.
Mm.
I feel like this is the hardest time that we've ever been through.
Mm-hmm.
So it gave me some hope to continue to doing the step and doing the work that was right in front of us. And there was a turning point. I remember a turning point within this project for Jennifer, where it involved her starting to realize that, as for all the work that she was doing in learning how to take off her own mask, she could help coach other women in taking off their mask. And that's when I started to see energy return and some life return and
Yeah.
some hope return. And I was like, okay, I feel like we're on the right path right now. Okay, I think we can do this.
Yeah.
So
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So I want to get to the marriage stuff, but I have a question for you before that.
yeah,
You guys said you lived together while you were dating.
Yes.
Yeah.
Start with you, Eric. I'm sure you guys have gotten some slack from that, and mostly probably from the Christian community.
yeah, yeah.
What's your answer to somebody who thinks what you're doing is wrong, or is just even has questions about why you guys think it's okay to live with each other while you're like before you're married?
I think it's a great question. It's a super valid question, and I'm sure that there are many people who'd be wondering the same thing. And I would say, and what we shared with people at that time too, was number one, we desired to really be intentional to figure out our relationship before getting married. We want to learn all the things that we can learn in this season before we make that step. And the other thing is that I don't remember this ever coming up in conversation either, but we knew that we were being intentional with our intimacy and touching. And the thing is, we believe that marriage is sexual intercourse. We believe that's how God sees it. So we were more concerned with focusing on honoring God and what he says about these things, rather than being concerned about what other people might believe. And we knew, based on our beliefs and what God believes, that we were doing the right thing, and we hadn't been sexually active or anything like that. So we were settled on our side. We had faith that it's like, okay, we believe we're doing what God wants us to do. And we're happy to tell that to people if people have questions about that. Even now, if people have questions, after this episode, we'd be happy to talk about it more. But if you have anything, I'd love to.
Yeah. I'll just big picture it. Marriage is sex, penis in the vagina. That wasn't happening when we were dating.
There it is.
And we were able to date for 5 years and live together for 4 of those years, and that wasn't happening. So we were able to restrain ourselves and, be able to, because we were focused on what Eric said. We were focused on God, and we believe his word. Marriage is consensual sexual intercourse. And so we weren't doing that yet, and we were getting to know each other and pursuing God, and yeah.
And that tends to be, from my experience, the biggest issue people have with this is they have a hard time imagining anybody, including you two, being able to live with each other and for that long without having sexual intercourse with each other, which actually just says a lot more about them than it does about you guys.
Right.
So yeah, that's such great answers. And I think you two clearly like talking about it, so I would encourage people to talk to you about it too. It's an opportunity to teach them about how marriage ought to be, and also maybe an opportunity to teach people about dating the right way. So thank you for the answer there. So I'd love to know. So let's see, like, you guys eventually got engaged, you got married. What was that journey like?
Mm-hmm.
You must have found the thing or some things that you two like going towards together that you at some point got convinced like this will work long term. So yeah, what was that like?
That's great. In getting engaged, I feel like one of the earliest things I think about is just within like the decision making over buying the rings and that whole process, because for some reason I had it in my head that I was supposed to know what she would like for a ring, like all of these things, all these decisions to make, and I was supposed to make them without her and just know.
Feel weird?
Yeah, it felt very weird. It was so settling, and we've actually talked to people about this since then, is that we had very open conversations about this whole process. Like, we went looking at rings together and had very open conversations about what she would like.
And I love that because I didn't know what I wanted. Like, I was not a girl who like grew up like I had this idea of the ring I wanted. And so I remember going and being like, "Oh no, something's wrong with me." And Eric's like, "It's fine. We'll just look and we'll find out what you like." And I was like, oh, "Okay, thank you. I didn't realize there's nothing wrong with me because I didn't have this all planned and like picked out." It was like, this is another project. Like, what do you like? Figure out what you like together. Like, what are we willing to spend on a ring? And like making that decision together was so relieving to me too, because it's like, I'm gonna wear this forever, and oh no, like I don't know, it's like. It was a great project again for us to talk about and be like, what do you expect? What do you think? And what do I think? And how do I feel? And to be able to discuss it together and being like, oh, this is fun. Like, this is a fun conversation.
Right.
So
I think the way you guys did it, doing this right, you would be aware of where you're at in the relationship, where you're going, how in agreement you are over the direction you're going.
Right.
That's why I always find it interesting. There's this, I don't know, romance around like this big surprise engagement.
Right.
Which I get, surprises are cool. I'm not trying to like rain on anyone's parade, but at some level it's like, are you surprised about how the engagement happened? Or are you surprised he asked you to marry you at all? Like, or it's like, you guys are like, so that's where it's like, I think so much of this romance people put on relationships, people think if there's this mystery behind everything, we don't talk about certain things so we don't lose the romance. And it's like, it's the exact opposite when you really, really are communicating the way you guys have grown. And the romance is the collaboration behind that stuff. And being on the same team. And
Right.
Right.
yeah, I love that. So the engagement. So you guys found basically your process of just that was already what you were doing with every other area of your life, right? You guys are a team. You talk
Right.
about things.
I will say that that's a great point, Joel. The thing that really helped us, I think, figure out that decision to get married, to get engaged, and all that stuff was actually a marriage coaching program
Mm-hmm.
Mm,
that people in our community offer.
Right.
nice.
I love I love our community so much
Mm-hmm.
because people have taken it upon themselves to provide courses or programs that people can go through. And I will say for myself, I remember having a lot of trepidation over making the decision to get married.
Right.
I think for myself, I had experienced doing relationships wrong many times in the past, and I didn't want to do it wrong again. And especially when it's like, this is, in my mind, felt like the most important decision. So I remember being very hesitant. And I think that's one of the reasons that we decided to do the marriage coaching program together, which
Mm-hmm.
is
Right.
11-week, or is it? No, it's
Eight.
eight.
Eight. Yeah. 8 lessons.
8 lessons.
Mm-hmm.
We went through that together. But that program in and of itself actually helped us, like you said, get more on the same team
Right.
and get in agreement on more areas. For us, one of the big ones was chores.
Mm-hmm.
We struggle with
Chores.
Right.
Yeah.
chores is huge. Chores take so much time and there's so many of them to do. And what that does is it actually creates a lot of opportunities for arguments,
Right.
a lot of opportunities to be out of sync and to have draining experiences.
And then I would be controlling about it because it's like, well, he's offering to help, but then I'm trying to like do it my way or do it in my timing, and and so I had to learn how to like give up control to be like, do I actually want his help or do I want it done my way, right?
Oh,
And like having these conversations to be like, no, if he says he's going to do it, then I need to trust him that he's going to do it, and like really giving up that control and following through. And then two, it's like, but if this is the make it or break it thing, then this isn't going to happen. We're not going to get married. Like, we're not going to, it's like, if this is the thing I really want to be the end of our relationship, then that's okay too. Because that was part of that process, was being like, let's break this. Let's not just try to make this work. Let's break it and be like, because I want him to be everything God wants him to be. I want him to step into his purpose. I want him to meet the woman of his dreams. Happens to be me, but like I want that for him. If somebody better came along, then like I would want to encourage that, and vice versa. It's like working through the marriage course helped with that, and then working on like, let's share everything with each other, like all of those thoughts, past relationships, let's share it all. And then it was like, okay, yeah, now we're ready to get engaged because we've talked about everything. There's nothing I haven't shared, which is hard.
And I,
yeah.
I think that was a very, like, that's one of these things that I never would have come up with. So I
Right.
definitely thank
Yeah.
our mentors and leaders so much to even have the idea to let's see if we can intentionally break this thing. Like,
Yeah.
let's have conversations that we are afraid of having
Right.
with each other, because if we find out that this isn't supposed to be, this isn't right, the right decision for us, then great.
Right.
It's great to find out now, like you said, Joel, before we get married,
Right.
and to have all those conversations. And it's one of those things where when you try to stress it and test it, and after every conversation you find out it's like, oh, this person responded well to me,
Mm-hmm.
I trust them more,
Right.
I'm more attracted to them, I'm more convinced that this is the right thing to do. And one of these really pivotal conversations for me, and I think this is something I'll remember forever too, is one of our friends, Rob, had a sit down with me.
Mm-hmm.
So we had a conversation with each other.
This was before the engagement. This was like when Eric was like he was kind of like teetering, like, do we get married?
Yeah.
So I beat him to the punch
Yeah,
where I was like,
right.
I think we're going to be together because
Right.
I can handle him. He can handle me. So
Yeah.
when he was like, I don't
You
know.
really grew to the being open thing.
Right, right.
You laughed them.
I hurdled over
Yeah.
it.
She did.
Nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you talked
Absolutely.
to Rob. Yeah.
He asked me, he's like, what are three things that you need and are always going to need?
Hmm.
And I think I struggled, you know. I think one of the things I said was big picture. Like I need someone who has vision. I'm very focused on details. I need someone who's looking at the whole picture. And he helped me see the other two things. Someone who is in the future, someone who thinks forward, and um, and someone who's efficient, someone who's not going to spend all day on one task, but can skillfully get things done quickly. So these are kind of my counterparts. These are the things that I lack, the things that I don't have, the gifts that I don't have. And he helped me to see that Jennifer possesses all of those things. What he actually did was he actually helped me have this perspective where it allowed me to start truly appreciating the gifts that she had, because up to that point I would say I wasn't necessarily appreciating them that well
Hmm.
or
Okay.
taking them for granted. So it just like changed my perspective, and I feel like that was one of the last things that just needed to be removed from me,
Hmm.
to me to go, oh, like I actually need her.
Hmm.
I can't the I those are things I can't do. So yeah, it helped me have some humility in that sense too, where like, no, I need this person in my life. They help me so much. So
That's incredible. So the marriage train, like it's even called marriage training, right? So it's
Right.
not marriage counseling because it works best if you do it before you get married.
Right.
right,
Right.
But isn't that's pretty early on? The intention is like we're going to help you know whether or not you should be married. Not we're not going to help you have a better marriage. Well, it will, but
Right.
the goal ideally is let's find out if you're supposed to be married at all,
right.
Right.
which is why it works well or works best with people before they get married. But
Right.
so you guys got engaged. The marriage training was a great piece of that and maybe helping you guys feel really settled over it.
Yep.
Hmm.
You got married? How'd that go?
Yeah. It was fun. It was
Yeah.
another, yeah, it was a great project again because we, we, so I love our engagement story. So if you guys ever want to hear about that, we can share that too. But then when our marriage, the wedding day, with like the ceremony and like the party was such a fun experience because we worked on that together for the year before. So it's like I get people to do wedding planners. If that's your thing, go for it. But I highly recommend working on that project with your spouse too, or your soon to be spouse, because it was like I got to learn what Eric liked and what he found important and vice versa, like what I would want and what I felt. I figured out myself what I thought would be important because I didn't know. Again, I did not plan my wedding growing up. I was not that girl. And so, like, figuring out like what is the Jennifer and Eric experience, and then what would that look like to execute it on the day of the wedding day. And so it was really fun to be able to work on that together and even like see different venues, figure out venues that would fit us. Like it was really fun. I remember the place we ended up having the celebration at. Eric walked around like taking video of everything,
Cool.
and then like the wedding planner came over to me and was like, "It's just so interesting that he's here." I was like, "Yeah," and he's like, "Yeah, it's really great that he's involved." I was like, "Mm-hmm." That's how we agreed. Like, yep, that's gonna happen. Like, he's here doing this, and we're figuring it's our day. Like,
Yeah.
he's involved in this too. Um, and so that day was super fun because we got to give the Jennifer and Eric experience. Yeah, so that's I'll share that part.
Yeah. I think that again, an amazing opportunity, amazing experience to work on something together, because there can be a lot of pressure and a lot of tension. There's going to be a lot of guests that are coming. This is also pretty expensive.
Hmm.
So there's so many decisions to make. And I also remember, I think maybe both of us felt this way too, where it's like, well, what should we do?
Hmm.
What should we do? What should we do? And the kind of almost like looking outward to try to find, well, this is how other people did it, or all
Yeah.
that stuff. you know, comparing ourselves to others and
Mm-hmm.
comparing ourselves to previous experiences. And again, having great support
Mm-hmm.
and people and friends in our life to go, what is your uniqueness? What is your thing? How can you let God flow through you in this experience? And it's such a like, okay, we need to look inward. Like, how would we do this? How do we want to do this? It felt risky because it's
Mm-hmm. It's different.
one of the things that we did was radically different and felt like a risk. And one of the things that we wanted to share, we both did a short speech right before the party where we wanted to thank everybody that was there, and we wanted to thank them in a way that they felt like it reached them uniquely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's one of these things where we're so glad that we did that, but it did feel so tense and so risky to get to that spot to do that, because that was something that was unique to our experience. And that project, even though in a previous season with the unmasking felt like such a dark time and such a hard time,
Mm-hmm.
the wedding project felt like even greater of a challenge.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, oh my gosh, like this feels even more tense than what we've gone through previously.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like it was so great to walk through all of these things together because it built so much trust
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
between each other. Like, I couldn't have thought of a different way. Like, if I had to ask myself, like, well, how would I have done it differently to build more trust or more faith in each other? I don't know if I could think of a better way for all of those things to go, because it just brought us closer together and feeling more connected to each other and feeling like a team.
Right.
Like, that's how we treat every project now.
Right.
Everything
Oh,
going
that's incredible.
forward,
Yeah.
it's the same thing.
Right.
We're a team. How do we do this together? How do we do this in our uniqueness? And that, I mean, that's the thing that I didn't feel like I had in the past, was a relationship, a friendship, a marriage that can continue to grow
Right.
into the future. So,
Very different from the initial idea both of you guys had on what it would have been like to be married with somebody,
right.
which is incredible. So as we wrap up, what's marriage been like? It's been a couple years now
Wow. Yeah.
of marriage. What's that been like? What's the thing you guys are jacked about as far as like each other and about your marriage? The thing you guys are passionate about. I'd love to, yeah, bring us into the future.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Finally, we can talk about the future. Just joking.
She's the future one.
I like talking about the past though too.
Yeah.
Eric and I were just talking about, it's like we have known each other probably a total of like 10 years, right? And then we dated like 5-ish, 6-ish, and then been married too. So like there was like a year that we didn't, whatever. Math is hard. So, but it doesn't feel that long. My point is, it doesn't feel like we have been together that long. It's just like it keeps getting better. We're having more fun. We're both stepping more into our purpose. So it's like I'm jacked about Eric becoming the senior pastor at Music of Life Church Kimberly. He's killing it, like just stepping into his teacher role and being able to deliver these sermons that are just so caring but also filled with like really great doctrine, and then to see him enjoy the preaching part but also like the whole prepping part. Like he's like, I talked to this person and they helped me figure this out. And it's like, look at this part of my sermon. Oh, I'm so excited to deliver this. And then, but then also pulling on me to be like, does this make sense?
Right.
Like, if I share it, like, will the audience get it? I'm like, maybe try this. Like, I think this in like, but him pulling on my uniqueness so that the sermons get better has been such a value to me and puts me in my element. And then it's just so cool to watch him just like get up there and like kill it. And we're just having a blast. And then just his heart for our church, for our community. Like, you know, we're going on dates and it's like, it's not work to talk about church because we enjoy it so much, because we're enjoying doing, again, this project together to help this church grow, to do God's will more together. And it's just so fun to be able to do that with Eric. And then and be like, wait, like I'll be like, this is our life. Like I
Yeah.
like you and I like being married to you. And it's like, you want to hang out and be friends and talk more? And then we just talk all the time. Like, I feel bad for our neighbors because they're probably like, people never shut up. Always talking. And it's like, come
Nice.
on, let's talk. Like, let's figure it out. And so, yeah, so I'm so excited for him and him stepping into this season has been so fun to watch and be a part of. So, yeah.
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 Oh, you guys are sweet. Eric, final words and thoughts. How's the marriage, and what's the future hold for you two?
Yeah, I feel like since our marriage, I've seen Jennifer come into more of her own.
Mm,
Um,
mm,
she works as a counselor full time, also has her own life coaching, business on the side. And it is kind of surreal to me at times where, you know, I'll see her come home from work. She has lots of energy,
mhm.
which she didn't have at previous jobs
Right.
in the corporate world. She would come home massively drained, but coming home now with energy and like, how do I, like, she's sharing just general stories about people she's trying to help. How do I help them with this? Or, I'm dealing with this person. And it's a very collaborative environment
Mhm.
where we talk together, we brainstorm together and share ideas together about helping these people. And it's a radically different Jennifer than I've seen
Mm,
in the past where she loves the work that she does. It's
mhm.
like, how did we not see this before? How did we not see that she's a coach?
Right.
Like she wants to champion people and teach them and exhort them.
We did, but I just fought everybody on it. I was like, no, I don't like it. But yeah, but yeah,
I just continue to see it
right.
every week
Yeah.
that come out and um, I agree with Jennifer. It's continuing to work on things together,
Hmm.
rely on each other, use our strengths to help each other.
Yeah. Like
Um,
Eric's a huge, I mean, growing with Jennifer would not be a thing. My coaching program would not be a thing without him because he does all of the videoing and the editing and all of the technical things
yeah,
that go into recording things and he sets me up to be um
The
the
talent.
the
yeah, the
talent.
talent. I was
Yeah,
like,
Yeah.
what's the word? What's
yeah,
that detail? The talent, it's like, and so I am forever grateful for his uniqueness and how well it works with mine and my purpose that I believe God has called me to. And Eric just keeps husbanding it. And he's like, gets so excited about all of the videos. And he's like, came home the other day and he was editing something from a conference that I did. And he's like, oh, yeah, we'll use it in social media. I'm like, thank you. Like, and we're just growing. It's so fun.
right,
I just didn't know marriage could be so fun.
right.
Oh man.
Yeah,
Oh, that's inspiring. Thank you both.
Yeah.
Holy cow. Yeah, the future holds big things for both of you individually, but I mean, it's hard to see either of you doing anything individually. You're always going to be at each other's sides, but I see, the work you guys are both doing at the church, and
Mhm.
then even just individually in your lives and how you support each other is a breath of fresh air.
Mhm. Good.
So, yeah, thanks for being on. I'd
Yeah.
love to have you guys on again sometime in the future.
Yeah.
Keep building these marriage stories, and yeah, we'll keep telling them to the people. And there's so much that you guys shared today, and it actually, I feel like you guys already kind of helped flush out a lot of the teaching too.
Nice.
So
Shocker.
thank you for that. So yeah, man, yeah, just it's been an honor having you on. Thank you so much. You shared your story so well. So
Thank you. Thank you,
thank
Dr.
you.
Joel.
You guys have a wonderful day.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for having us. This is the best podcast ever. You're the best podcast host ever. Thank you for helping us both feel so safe to
Yeah.
share our story
Hmm.
and to share everything. You're a great host.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having us.
Great. Well, thanks, guys. We'll see you soon.
Okay.
See you soon.
Bye bye.
Bye.
All right, big thank you to Eric and Jennifer. What a great interview, right? I love their story. I love how passionate they are. They're both clearly have an apt to teach as well. I probably could have left without this section of the interview because it seems like, a lot of the stuff that they shared about in their story, they naturally want to explain and commentate and give the understanding behind those things, which is wonderful. But as a teacher myself, as a doctrine guy, of course I have some things to say. One of the things I really loved is how their early courting season, as we referred to it, or as I referred to it, so much of those first early years happened around the church and in group settings, which is a great way to get to know each other in a safe capacity and all that. But also, it just actually, what it did for me is it highlighted this attribute of the church us three are all a part of, and what I think God has designed the church to be like. The church, Music of Life Church in particular, we're very involved in each other's lives, not just on Sundays, but throughout the week. We're not a group of people who see each other sitting in chairs pointed at somebody who is either singing or teaching us each week. We're a group of people that do most of our work between Sunday services. Most of our work, most of our fellowship, most of our just spending time with one another happens Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, etc. Jennifer and Eric's story is a testament to that. Listen to these verses from Acts 2:43 through 47, which I think gives some insight into what the church is meant to look like. Then fear came upon every soul, and many wonders and signs were done through the apostles. Now all who believed were together and had all things in common, and sold their possessions and goods and divided them among all, as anyone had need. So, continuing daily with one accord in the temple and breaking bread from house to house, they ate their food with gladness and simplicity of heart, praising God and having favor with all the people. And the Lord added to the church daily those who were being saved. Incredible verses that describe the church. And what we can see here is definitely a picture of a group of people who are very involved in each other's lives, in agreement, of one accord, of one mind. Yes, they did go to temple, but they also were regularly, continually, and growing and interacting with each other house to house as well. That does not sound like a group of people to me that only gather once a week. Another piece that I wanted to flesh out a bit that I've talked about before, that Eric did a good job and Jennifer kind of talking about, was the word husband or husbandman. The word husband, although a lot of people today just think it means the man in a marriage relationship, actually comes from the word that means worker of the land. I think of a husbandman as a farmer. Now, we all need one. God is the ultimate, right? He is our husbandman. And Jesus is the groom, and we, the church, are the bride. So all of us, men and women, need husbandmen in our lives to help us become all that God created us to be. And it doesn't have to happen only within the institute of marriage. And one of the things that I think Eric and Jennifer's story does a really good job of is it kind of shows the importance of how in a marriage, it takes a village. The husband who's leading the husbandry is meant to get help from other people in helping the husbandry become all they were meant to be. And that's where, when Eric was dealing with what he referred to as a dark season, before they got married, he reached out to a council of mentors, of other leaders, of other men who were married and have experience with this. And he got help husbanding Jennifer before they were even married. So he got help husbanding her, working the land, or, nourishing her, cherishing her in a way where she was able to learn more about herself and become more and more the woman that God created her to be. It's incredible, right? Now, another thing that I want to touch on is projects. If you listen to the episode, you know how often Eric and Jennifer talked about working on projects with one another. One of the things I've been taught and experienced for myself is that doing a project with a person is one of the greatest ways to get to know them more. You are definitely going to see the difference in uniqueness over a project, There's definitely going to be conflict and tension. You're going to have to learn how to resolve that with one another, because there's going to be different ways of looking at things, different perspectives, different ideas over how to handle whatever the project is. So I want to share with you this model that I have over project management. And it really helps, because when you start breaking down a project into these pieces, it helps you do the projects better and more intentionally. And it also can kind of highlight within you and people you're working on projects with areas of strengths and weaknesses in your own life. So we call it the DACE model, DACE. D means divergent, or really it's the brainstorming stage. This is the first stage, the first step of any project. There needs to be a brainstorming stage where we flush out all the ideas, every idea, even the ones that we think are stupid, which from my experience, I've seen the ideas that people hold on to because they don't think it's a good idea. They think it might be a stupid or an obvious idea, tend to be the ones that are the best and tend to be the ones that are chosen to move forward on. So that's the first step. The second is assimilate. That's the A, assimilate. This is when you take the brainstorming stage is over and all the possibilities that you have, thought of and brainstormed are organized. So simply think of the assimilation stage as organizing those ideas into categories. Then there's the convergent stage. That's the C. Now, this is when you take the possibilities that you have, these categories, and you start eliminating those that you don't need. So you have a down, what you want to have here at this stage is down to a specific option and timetable that you actually can use for that fourth step of a project, which is execution. The execution is when the project tasks are actually worked on. And the execution stage ultimately results in the project being done. So what's cool, you have divergent, brainstorming, assimilate, organization. Convergent is the pruning or purging, eliminating the ideas you don't need, and execute. It's when you do the project. What I've found is that people tend to be gifted in one or the other, or in certain of those four more than other ones. And when you know that about yourself, it actually helps you work better with other people. So for instance, I'm not great at brainstorming. I want to really quickly start organizing things and start explaining why things should or shouldn't work, which can be frustrating for people who are just trying to brainstorm. But if you know that about me, my friend Jonathan knows this about me. So a lot of times when he's pitching an idea to me and it's not ready to go to the assimilate, converge, or execute stages yet, he'll say, this is just an idea. I'm just brainstorming here. And what that does is that slows me down to make sure any additional commentary I have over what he's sharing fosters the idea and doesn't quench it. So that's the project management model. It's definitely been something that the community I'm involved in uses on a very consistent basis when we get anything done, but especially the bigger projects that got a lot of moving parts and a lot of people. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is chores. It's funny, they talked about chores and when they lived together, even before they got married, one of the things that they had a lot of conflict over was chores. But if you pay attention to the way they discuss it, especially the way Jennifer discussed chores, it's another one of those areas where I see nothing is ever only about the thing itself. So the chores, the whole conflict they were having over chores was never only about the chores. It also included their uniqueness, what they did like or didn't like. It included whether or not they were giving up control to one another. If you say you're going to clean the bathroom and you do it different than what I do, am I okay with you doing it the way you think it should be done? Which ultimately then gets down to expectations. And expectations are the killer of any relationship. Because what is the fuel of the best relationships? Love. And love, as Jennifer defined it within the episode itself, is giving a value to somebody without expecting anything in return from that person. So we have expectations on each other, especially in a marriage, but really in any relationship. That's when the end begins. Basically the major, the beginning of the end of any marriage is when one or both people start feeling owed by the other person. And you start feeling owed when you start having expectations. So how well do you love? How well does your partner love? How well does your church love? How well are you loving your church? That's it for today on Unlocked. Thanks again to Eric and Jennifer. I'm Dr. Joel Swakowski. If you want to find more about Jennifer, you can go to growingwithjennifer.com. That's where her coaching process is available. If you want to learn more about Eric and especially the church that he's a senior pastor of, you can go to musicoflifechurch.com. And if you're interested in the marriage training that they talked so highly about, reach out to either of them and they can give you more information on that. Go check out those resources. Even if if it piqued your interest, you don't have to commit to anything. Go take a look, read the literature, find out if it's for you. Thank you for listening. Keep seeking truth. Keep living it out. We'll see you next time.